10 quick tips to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Tip number 1, your name. Make sure that you put your right first name and the second name. Do not use any pseudonyms, or also start using names that people know you by. Maybe your pen name or anything that your people knows you by. And make sure that you are putting your credentials or your qualifications, say for an example, an MBA or a doctor, which is added onto your LinkedIn. Tip 2 is your headline. So your headline is probably the most important part of this entire profile, and it needs to explain what you do and how you help people and who you help. And this should be 120 characters. So it should be about I am so and so and I serve these people. So I, rather than putting as a founder and CEO, you need to make sure that you put it as I help entrepreneurs grow their business through digital mediums. So that should be the kind of format that you use. I help dash for by doing dash. So try to use that format for you to be able to write your headlines. And this is how you can differentiate yourself from everyone else. And as soon as people see, they don't want to know, nobody searches for a founder and CEO. People search for digital marketers or real estate agents or people like that. So make sure that you put that on your headline. And the next thing is your photos. Photos is something that gives you an initial appeal. So make sure that you have a headshot photo of yourself, and do not put a group photo or a photo where you are in a, it's a professional network. So make sure that it is a professional photo, a headshot photo, and it is very clear, and you just make sure that you're seeing it on the camera and make sure that you're smiling. So these are the quick tips for you to be able to make sure that your photo is appealing to your audience. Tip number 3 is basically your experience and your education skills. So make sure that you have all your experiences that are being added. At least put your last 2 experiences. It's not just enough that if you put like, okay, I worked in this company as this designation. Go into details of what you exactly did in your previous roles and what is the kind of work that you've done. So this gives a better understanding for people who are looking for your services. It also helps you in optimizing for the LinkedIn search engine. So make sure that you list your current position, which is most important, and including the duties that you've done, and also your previous positions. At least your last 2 previous positions is a must. And also use keywords in the content that you're writing when you're describing. So once you know what is the kind of people, how do you want people to be found, start using those keywords into these particular content where you're writing about your experience. Education, so just make sure that you go behind your high school and just start writing about your high school and your bachelor's or your master's, whatever you've done, because it's a great opportunity for people to find you. You could always find a person who did schooling with you or people who did your bachelor's colleges with you. So just make sure that you write all these points, and it gives a better option for people to connect with you. And the next tip is basically your skills. In LinkedIn, you need to at least add up to 5 skills, and you can add up to 50 skills. So just make sure that you add as many skills as possible, because that gives more leverage for you to get found. Like, when people are searching certain level of skilled people, you need to come up that. So just make sure that you write as many skills as possible. And most important thing again is the contact and personal information. So there's a lot of people who actually do a lot of optimization on LinkedIn, but they don't give their contact or email ID. So just make sure that you give your contact info, at least your email ID, and if you want to be connected over phone, then give your phone ID, phone number as well. But at least more importantly, if you don't want to be contacted by phone, just make sure that you give your email ID, an easy way for people to reach out to you. And again, in the same thing, you need to make sure that you write your accomplishments. So when you're writing all these things, just make sure that whatever you've accomplished, it could be a publication, a project that you've done, any honors or awards that you've got, any volunteer experience that you've given, or any pro bono works that you've done, any patents that you might have, any kind of certification that you might have. So just make sure that you put all the accomplishments that you've achieved. The other thing that you need to know, the next step, is basically you need to create a custom URL. So use your first name and last name for the URL, because in directly LinkedIn creates a random URL with a random ID, right? So you need to make sure that you have a URL with your first name and last name. If you're not able to find an URL which if it's already taken, just make sure that you add something extra, but don't make it a very generic, so that it's easy for people to identify you with your URL. And also the next tip I want to give you is about endorsements. So more and more you get endorsed from people, the more and more your value is going to rise. More and more people start respecting you. You'll be start seeing as a thought leader, and you have a great opportunity to come on search engine of LinkedIn. So just make sure that you endorse people as well. So don't keep expecting, always give and expect back. So start endorsing people so that you get their endorsements back as well. The next tip is about recommendation. Recommendation is again a great thing in LinkedIn, and it actually helps people for you to build your social proof, your trust factor, increase your trust factor among your potential audiences. So just ask for recommendation from anybody who you've worked with, your seniors, your juniors, clients who you work with, anything and everything. So just make sure you get as many recommendations as possible on your LinkedIn channel. So that's again very important for you to kind of grow your LinkedIn profile. So to put it in short, as a summary, the most important thing here is to have your right photo, to put the right name, and also start putting, I help these people solve these issues. So people are very clear on what you're there to offer and what is your offering, and start building content around it. Start filling your education gaps or skills, accomplishments, and everything, and make sure you kind of weave the keywords of what people are searching into your content, where you're describing about yourself. That way, your LinkedIn profile is optimized and you are ready to get found by people who are looking for your services. Thank you.